So here we have a worksheet where I've typed in a few different values into these cells, and why don't you go ahead and take the time to do that as well. So pause the video and try to reproduce what is in this worksheet. You'll also notice a list of cells down at the bottom that has been grouped. And we're going to use that as a list using data validation in cell B1. So go ahead and try that. Include the data validation and a grouped set of rows in this worksheet. All right, now that you've filled in your worksheet, I'm going to ungroup this set of cells. Also going to zoom in here a little bit so we can see what we're working with. And what we're going to do is use Excel's hyperlink function. And hyperlink function is going to allow us to create a hyperlink to an external website or even a link within Excel. And so we're going to use this first in cell B5. And anytime I begin a formula in Excel, I'm going to type in an equal sign. And we'll see that hyperlink is going to create a shortcut or jump that opens a document stored on your hard drive, a network server, or the internet. And as I said before, we're also going to use it to create a link within this worksheet. The first thing you see is a link location, and then you also see a friendly name. The link location is where you want the hyperlink to go to, and the friendly name is the name you want displayed in the cell. And to begin this hyperlink function, we need to use quotation marks. And in this case, I'm going to reference another sheet, and we'll see down at the bottom we have different worksheets in this workbook, and one of them is called charts. And in order to reference a worksheet in Excel, I need to use the pound sign or the number sign or a hashtag, depending on where you're from, and then the name of that sheet. So I want to go to the charts sheet. I need to let Excel know that it's a sheet by putting an exclamation point at the end of it. And then I want to go to cell A1. I'm going to enter another set of quotation marks to close off this portion of the hyperlink function, then use a comma to move to the next part. And the friendly name I'm going to put is simply another cell in this workbook. And you'll see that we have that here. If we hit enter, we'll see that it will create a hyperlink. And so if I were to go to this hyperlink and select it, it would take me to cell A1 in the charts worksheet. And here we see it gave us a hyperlink to that charts worksheet in cell A1. So I'm going to go back to our worksheet. And let's say we want to use this a little bit differently now. We're going to use a value that's going to be in cell B1 to create an updated link that's going to be determined by what we choose in our drop-down menu. So I'm going to go in and edit this formula by hitting F2. And where I want it to go to is the cell that's chosen by the value that we select in cell B1. So I'm going to edit this formula to change where we go to. I'm going to use the ampersand symbol. That's going to allow us to concatenate values in this formula, where concatenation is just linking or combining two separate things. And so the first thing to know is how to use the quotation marks in Excel. And what we need to do is use a quotation mark here in order to let Excel know that we're done with that set of text data and not referencing something in a cell. And then I'm going to use the concatenate feature by holding Shift and hitting the number 7 to get an ampersand. And I want this to refer to cell B1. So I'm going to type in cell B1 here. And we still have these quotation marks here, so I'm going to delete those. And when we hit enter, we'll see the link come up again. And we'll see what happens when I click on this link without a value selected. It says that there's a problem with the formula, so let's hit OK and try to fix this. I'm going to choose a value in cell B1. Right now it doesn't know where to go, and so I'm going to tell it to go to cell A15. Now let's try that link. And you'll notice that it puts us in cell A15. If we want to go back to our hyperlink worksheet, if we want to change this drop-down menu to a different one, let's say B17, and then we click on the link. That took us to the charts worksheet. and cell B17. So we've done two different things here. We've used the hyperlink function, and we've also used the concatenate feature in Excel, which is going to combine two different values in a cell. Knowing that, we can use those features in order to create a worksheet that's going to update based on the values that we type in it. So let's first include a hyperlink here. Simply go to Yahoo Finance. Anytime we start a formula, we have to type in equals. Here I have the beginning of the formula, and now I need a link location. We're going to start off with quotation marks and then put our web address. You'll notice that we ended with quotes around finance.yahoo.com, and then a comma to let us know what the friendly name is. And we want to name it as Yahoo Finance inside of our quotation marks, and then we hit enter. And when we click on this link, it's going to take us to Yahoo Finance. And for me, it opened up on another screen. And so what you can see here is that we went to Yahoo Finance. Now we're going to use this to find information on a particular company. So I'm going to type in a ticker symbol, or a way for us to identify a company on a stock exchange, into cell B2. And in this case, I want to use the ticker symbol for Caterpillar, which is CAT or CAT. And we're going to adjust the hyperlink formula in cell B6. So if we go to finance.yahoo.com, we can search for a particular company, and we'll go to Caterpillar or CAT. And what we see is the page for Caterpillar, and there's different information here on Yahoo Finance. Right, so we see different information here, the open price, the closing price. We also have a tab here for financials. And I'm going to select that tab. What we see here is the annual income statement for Caterpillar for this time period. We can also change that to quarterly, and we get different quarterly time periods. If we go back to annual, we can look at the balance sheet. And maybe this information is helpful as well. You'll also notice that some of these have an arrow here, and if we want it to expand these values, we can. And that's going to expand the values for assets. If we click this arrow again, if we click this arrow here, it will expand current assets. Or we can simply hit expand all. And that will expand all of the values on this particular financial statement. And so we have the information here for Caterpillar. You notice up top we have a web address that seems to use the ticker symbol as well. And so you'll notice if I wanted to remove CAT here, and I wanted to type in the ticker symbol for Apple, I could. And I'm going to replace both of these cats with Apple, and we'll see what happens. So here I've replaced both of those with Apple. You'll notice that we're still on Caterpillar. If I hit enter now, it will take us to the financial statement information for Apple. And so we can use that feature in Excel in order to update our hyperlink depending on the ticker symbol. So I'm going to copy this web address. I'm going to select it, hold down Control-C. Go back to our spreadsheet. I'm going to edit this function by hitting F2. And I'm going to put it in this first portion here. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use that concatenate feature in order to update it for Yahoo Finance. And if I were to hit enter and click on this link, and what you see is we go to the Caterpillar page on Yahoo Finance. If I were to go back and change this to Apple, then hit enter, click on the link, what you'll see is another window opens up for Apple as well. And so in this sense, we can use this hyperlink function to adapt to the values that we have in these cells. And so I've replaced the ticker symbol with Caterpillar. Now we're going to look at SEC, or the Securities and Exchange Commission, EDGAR, to find company financial data. And so here I'm at the SEC EDGAR page, and I'm going to search for the ticker symbol CAT for Caterpillar. You'll notice here that we have a CIK, which is the central index key for a company. And in this case, Caterpillar's is 18230 or 18230. And so I'm going to copy this web page, again, just by clicking on it, hold down Control-C. We're going to use that in our hyperlink function. So now I'm going to use the same code that we have from above. And I'm going to change our formula here, in this with a quotation mark, and then use our concatenation function. And we're going to go to cell B3. And we'll see a link that takes us to the Caterpillar page as well. And so if we wanted to, we could change this. We could search for another CIK number. We can look for Apple. We'll see the CIK for Apple is 320193. And so I'll go back to the spreadsheet and change it to that. And we click on this link. And that'll take us to the CIK 320193, the data for Apple. So the last thing we probably want to do is update this link so that it reflects something a little bit more accurately. And we'll see that it takes us to Apple. So here we've used Hyperlink to get to another cell in this workbook based on the value in a drop-down menu. We've also used a dynamic link for Yahoo Finance using the ticker symbol above. The same thing for SEC EDGAR in order to find the financial statements for this particular company.